All right, welcome to episode 33 of The Future Belongs to Creators. We're going to talk today about how to deal with hate and unwanted attention as a creator. I'm joined today by the wonderful Charlie Prangley. Charlie, thanks for hanging out today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So we'll intro you and all that in a second, but let's start with a little red, yellow, green check-in. How are you doing today? It's evening for you.
It is. So I'm based in Spain, and if anyone can hear some like commotion in the background, it's because every night at 9 o'clock lately, people have been going out on their balconies with pots and pans and like protesting the way the government has handled the quarantine. So apologies, can't do anything about it.
I can't hear it, but you seem to say that it's quite loud.
I've kind of gotten used to it by now. But to actually answer your question, I feel like I'm yellow today. It's been one of those unfocused, like low motivation weeks. It seems to be coming in waves during this quarantine. I saw someone tweet about how it's like this cycle of like some grief, some frustration, lack of motivation. Then you like solve that through creativity and doing things, and then you get super inspired, and eventually you like come down the other side again and go in a loop. So yeah, I'm on the downside at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that's why we do these check-ins and remind people, everyone listening to do the check-in as well, because that awareness is kind of the first thing of like, okay, why do I feel this way? What do I feel? Why do I feel that? I'd say that I'm green, yellow, somewhere in there. I think I'm at the stage where I'm like, I should be green, but I feel yellow, and I haven't yet done the check-in to figure out exactly why. So maybe after this episode, I'll figure that out. Or we could turn this whole episode into a therapy session, but we're not going to.
Because that's not what I signed up for.
Charlie's like, I'm out. I have Netflix to watch. Okay, before we dive into our topic, probably the most useful, most helpful thing to get off on a good start would be for people to understand a little bit about your background. I can totally hear like maybe is the banging going now?
Yep, the banging's still going. It'll probably be going for the next 10 minutes.
I can hear just the tiniest bit of it. Oh man, that's we're just bringing some world culture to everyone.
Just giving you a little perspective of the quarantine in Spain.
Oh, that's good. So maybe why don't you tell people a little bit of your background and where you're at as a creator and what you're up to.
Yeah. So if you don't know me, then I'm Charlie. I'm a designer and I actually work at ConvertKit. I'm the marketing design lead at ConvertKit. But on the side, I'm also a creator. So I have a podcast, I have a YouTube channel, I write a blog, and all of it's about design because I'm very just obsessed with design, basically. I've been doing YouTube videos for it's been like 6.5 years now that I've been on YouTube making videos. Yeah, it is a long time. So yeah, that's like my main thing that I focus on really on the side is the YouTube channel. I love making videos and just sharing, thoughts about design, sharing vlogs from life as a designer, and that sort of thing.
And you've lived all over the world, originally from New Zealand.
That's what the accent is.
Spent time growing up around the world, but then also living in London and now in Spain.
Yeah, now in Spain, in the lovely sunny Valencia.
Nice. Yeah, you picked a nice warm place to be stuck for quarantine. Absolutely.
And a nice big apartment too. I'm just so thankful that we made this move and I'm not in the tiny London flat we're in before. We've got this lovely outdoor space and, enough room, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. So we met 4 years ago. 3 years ago?
No, it's over 3. I've been at ConvertKit for 3.5 years almost. So it must have been 4 years ago.
Yeah. Because we met, we were both speaking at our good friend Sean McCabe's conference. So we were both speaking there. That's how we got to know each other. I asked you a bunch of YouTube questions and then I recruited you to come join the team at ConvertKit and you were kind enough to oblige and agree to that. So I guess that's plenty of background. People understand where we're at. Since you're not going to brag about yourself as far as numbers or that kind of thing, I will. You can
do that.
It's better that way,
Yeah.
I haven't pulled up your channel, in the last week or so to check, but you have over 150,000 subscribers or followers on YouTube. And that comes with a lot of attention in all forms, particularly YouTube comments. Actually, maybe correct me if this is wrong. YouTube comments have always had this reputation for being the worst comments on the entire internet, probably.
Right.
I feel like that's gotten a little bit better lately. Is it?
I think so too. At least for me, that's true for the most part, that it's overwhelmingly going to be more positive than negative. But I think what happens with negative comments is it's kind of like one negative comment needs at least 5 positive ones to start to like equal it or outweigh it. So
I was going to say 10. That was what when you started that sentence. I was like, yeah, it's a 10 to 1, 10 to 1 ratio.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit more accurate. Yeah, and I think it depends on, there's different like pockets of YouTube that can be more toxic than others in terms of the comment section. If we want to just get straight into it, I'll say that for my videos, I generally have a lovely audience and everyone's very positive and you know, inspiring, motivating. Whenever I make videos talking about hardware, like tech hardware, computers, laptops, that sort of thing, or when I make videos talking about code, that is when the like negative comments and the hate starts to come in for me. People are telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. And yeah, that's the videos that tend to attract that sort of comment, which is interesting. And I don't know exactly why, but yeah.
Right. I think, so one thing that I just realized is when I put videos up of projects that I've built, when I get comments is when people, so this would be a totally different space, right? In woodworking, where I'm building a tiny house or another woodworking project. If I have shots in there of me making something, people will like criticize my technique of that's not how you do it. Or what was one? No, this didn't happen to me, but another woodworker I know like was doing something and he'd taken his safety glasses off, and there's like 25 comments about that. He was like, no, I was wearing the glasses for or whatever, you know? And so it's when people are like, aha, I caught you. Or like workouts. If you filmed yourself doing a workout and someone's like, oh, that's bad form. And you're like, okay. You know, with code, there's 10 ways to do something. And sure, we could argue all day about which one is more correct. Some are more correct than others, but you know, 5 or 6 of them are probably completely valid ways of doing it. And people get into this where they're like, really want to correct you and dive into it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think that honestly, if I had started talking about design on YouTube and sharing my process, because that's what I do mostly in my videos for anyone who hasn't seen them, is I'm sharing the things I'm working on. I'm not like creating a project to use in a tutorial. I'm literally sharing the actual work I'm doing at ConvertKit. And I think being so open about that process has obviously opened me up to people coming in and telling me that I'm doing things wrong. And if I was earlier in my career, I don't think I would have able to handle that very well. Like I would have felt like, oh, people are telling me I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. And, you know, but I'm pretty confident in my skills as a designer now. So I can sort of take that on the chin and be like, no, we just have a different process. Like, you know, there's not a right or wrong way to design a website. It's whatever works for you. But definitely earlier in my career, couldn't have done that.
Yeah. So if we're talking to someone who's jumping in and they're like, okay, I'm learning, maybe I'm relatively new to development or design or any of these skills, and I want to work in public, you know, they've been listening to us talk about that as a company for the last however many years. And they're venturing down that road and they're realizing that there's going to be this hate, this toxic comments, you know, the mansplainers, the everything else coming in of people telling us you're doing it wrong. What advice would you give to them? Because they're about to embark on something that is a bit scary.
Yeah, I think that honestly, being prepared for it can help. Knowing that, like, you know, taking some time to reflect inwards and be like, okay, I know my own skills, and reminding yourself of that when these comments do come in, because it can be hard sometimes. The like one hate comment that I still think about today, and I don't even want to bring it up because I don't want to give the person any credit. I don't know, I can't remember their name or anything, but basically their comment was about my design skills and saying that I don't deserve to have this audience, and I'm not even a good designer. Like, why am I teaching others when I'm so shit and all that? Oh, I don't know if you swear on this podcast, but we can bleep it out later.
The book title that I'm going to reference as a resource includes swearing. So
okay, good. Yeah, like that did get to me and did get under my skin a bit. But I think the most important thing to remember is that this person doesn't know you, and they don't know your background, and they only know like what they saw in this video. And guess what? They probably didn't even watch the whole video or read the whole blog post or whatever it is they're commenting on. They're in a combative mindset, and they're wanting to hate on someone basically to make themselves feel better. And I don't personally believe that just ignore it is very good advice, because I think it's really hard to follow. And we all know that's what we're supposed to do, but it's really hard to see a negative comment that attacks your intelligence and just move on past it. You know, we're humans. And I think that recognizing that it's going to be something that you're going to deal with and that you might struggle with is important. I've personally found that having other creators to talk to has been a huge help. So whenever I get a negative comment, being able to screenshot it and like just rant to a friend about it really does help to just like get it out there. Because you don't want to feed the trolls and reply to the hater, but you know, you want to acknowledge what you've just thought and processed when you read it as well.
Right. I think another thing that's helpful to keep in mind, and that I always try to remind myself of when I get that comment, I'm like so mad about it. And then I realize, oh, this says more about you than it says about me. Or people tend to be basically projecting what's going on in their own life or their own insecurities. And like, I have yet to see a super talented designer who I just really admire and respect the quality of their work. Forget who they are as a person, but where you're just like, wow, they are such a talented designer. And see them going around and dribble YouTube comments and Twitter and be like, wow, Charlie, that's really, really terrible design. Have you considered, finding a new career, say at Starbucks, or I don't know, like it doesn't happen. The people who are going around and criticizing are usually the ones who either don't have the skill and experience themselves, or they feel really insecure about their own work, or even probably who they are as a person. And so they're finding some of that validation in tearing you down rather than trying to level up their own abilities.
Definitely. And I think everyone's a critic, and the internet can make it feel like it's not a real person on the other end of a comment. There's been some times that I have replied to not some of the truly terrible comments. I just like to delete them straight away. But, sometimes I feel a bit sassy and I just want to get into it with someone, and I'll reply. And the response will often be, oh, I didn't think you'd see this.
Right.
And they'll feel like embarrassed that they even said that. But another thing that's helped me that I want to share is I have a folder in Dropbox called Nice Comments. And every time there's like a particularly good comment that like just makes me feel like, oh, this is why I do this. Whether it's an email, YouTube, blog, whatever, tweet, I screenshot and I save it in there. And that's like a nice it's my happy place to go look at when I'm wanting a reminder why I am doing this. If I've just published a hardware video and everyone's hating on me about my laptop choice, going into this folder and reading about all the people I've helped and all the nice things people have said, like helps remind me that the haters might be the loudest bunch right now, but they're the small minority of people who are seeing my content.
Yeah, I can definitely understand the desire to reply and all of that. I may have a little bit of a reputation inside of our company for feeding the trolls sometimes. We were getting trolled by somebody nonstop about trying to get a job. And I finally just told them like, okay, you're hired. I'll have to tell that story sometime. And turns out they went around telling everyone that they now work to ConvertKit. And so Elizabeth.
So maybe you shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
So maybe I shouldn't have done that. So don't feed the trolls is what we're trying to say. Do as we say, not as we do.
Not as we do. Yeah.
But I think that as Emily calls out in the chat, the warm fuzzies folder of the, keeping a bank of those 10 nice comments to outweigh that one is really, really good. Yeah, Barrett's calling out that sometimes feeding the trolls is fun. But there's a whole other category, right? This is we've been talking about the negative, hateful comments or that kind of thing. You get that. I get that. That's just part of being a creator. And you have to like, okay, as I go into this, I know to expect that. It's still going to hurt. It's still going to suck. but I know to expect it. And I know to line up some friends to turn to when I feel like, oh, maybe I am terrible at this. But there's this other category that you get that I don't get at all. And that would be should we call it the unwanted attention category?
I think that's a great way to describe it. Yeah, the unwanted attention. Because obviously as a creator, you want attention,
right?
But not all sorts of attention.
So you're saying that not all attention is created equal.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
And maybe that how do you say this? Intention matters with the attention that you're getting. And I think a lot of, this came up even last week, where maybe if you want to share that example, or probably one of the other 100 examples like it that you have of getting this attention, particularly as a female creator, and maybe talk more about that in your experience there.
Yeah. So I can't honestly even remember the exact thing that happened last week that we're talking about, but that's because it's very common. And so I don't keep space in my mind for any specific comment. But basically, as a woman online, you get a lot of people commenting on your appearance and giving compliments, which I'm saying in quote marks for people who are listening to the audio feed. Because even someone commenting on a video where I've just spent 16 minutes teaching you how to use Figma, and their comment is, "Oh, you're so beautiful. We should talk. We should get in touch. I'd like to get to know you more." That's not a compliment to me, right. It's framed as one. You could see it as that. I personally don't. And a lot of the other women creators that I know don't either, because basically what that's saying is you just watched me teach in this video. I'm trying to share my skills, share my knowledge, and all you got from it was you liked looking at me. Mm-hmm. And that just makes me feel so creeped out. And honestly, I think that's why women are afraid to put themselves out there online, because we're afraid of getting that sort of attention, and it just feels gross to think about, basically. But again, that's something that we expect and we come to get used to dealing with.
So I think the first thing, if we can just spread this message to all listeners, but particularly the male listeners, just because you string together a series of words and each word is positive does not mean that the whole collective thing counts as a compliment or is wanted in any way.
Right. I would say in general, it's great to just refrain from commenting about a woman's appearance online when she's someone that you don't know, and when it's not going to add anything to a conversation. And especially when I read these comments and I'm thinking, what are they hoping to get out of this? Right. What do you expect my response to be? Do you expect me to read that and think, yes, let's fall in love and get married? What?
Well, at least start with a date, that you're like, you know what, actually, here, let's go get coffee this weekend.
Let's try it. Yeah. I don't know. It just baffles me that that's what people think is appropriate to comment. And I don't when I say this, it's hard to talk about, because I don't want people to be put off saying nice things to other people. Right. And then people can start worrying about, where is this line, but I would say in general, don't comment on things that the person hasn't outwardly made an effort, or it's not a skill they've developed. Can't help, my face is my face, I didn't do anything. This is just what it looks like. And so it doesn't feel good to be complimented on it, because it shows me that all you value in me is my looks. And that's just not nice.
So things that would be totally okay to if you're watching a video and you want to compliment someone in it, probably the first place to start would be to think, okay, what is the intention of this video? And this video is 16 minutes on how to learn to use Figma as a designer. So a great compliment would be, wow, Charlie, that was really helpful in my journey to learn Figma. Thank you for spending the time to create this.
Yeah, exactly. Or, I loved the lighting that you used. That was a great introduction. There's just so many things that if you truly wanted to say something nice. So I don't think you need to be afraid of saying the wrong thing here. Just, look at what the intention was of the video, like you said. Yeah.
And I think, noticing effort. So for example, if you've been following someone for quite a while and you notice that they upgraded their lighting, or you notice that they nailed that shot, or they got a new microphone, whatever that is, then you're like, oh, I noticed that effort when the video, that's great. And I'm looking forward to that level of quality going forward.
Yeah, exactly. That would be really refreshing to get that sort of comment instead. Yeah, something that I do with these types of comments, that I've had so many people tell me not to do this, but it's like my coping mechanism for dealing with this is to screenshot it and share it on Twitter, not blanking out names or anything like that, just full on sharing the thing. And I like in doing that, I'm sort of like, it's a problem shared, problem halved sort of thing where I'm not just sitting by myself thinking, ooh, this feels creepy. Is this creepy? Am I overreacting? Because as women, we often tell ourselves we're overreacting when our guts are saying this is bad. So we need to listen to our guts. But yeah, in sharing it, I think I'm also highlighting the problem more. I've had a lot of the wonderful men in my life who would never leave a comment like this for anyone else, never leave a marriage proposal in an Instagram DM, to a woman they follow. But they didn't realize how bad this issue was, and so by sharing it, I'm getting it out there, and then they can be looking out for me as well and calling things out when they see things that are wrong. That comment, the moment we're talking about, you'd stepped in and said, hey, this is not like the right way to talk to someone. And like, honestly, unfortunately, sometimes it takes hearing it from another man for someone to actually listen. And so it is really helpful when that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think sharing with more people, I also fully agree with the full screenshot, not blanking it out.
Cool.
when I get things in my email inbox, sometimes I'll blank it out because it's like, okay, that was a one-to-one communication.
Right.
Maybe if I'm feeling generous, but I do believe that like, hey, screenshot, like this is not okay. Another example, I think you're talking about this is really helpful because I feel like a few years ago, I was in the same position of just being like, yeah, there's a lot of hateful comments on the web and not realizing the other side of there's this, all this unwanted attention. And Josiah mentioned something in the chat about, he didn't realize how bad it was until he started running a video ad that had a woman in it for one of their clients. And he sees all the, all the creepy comments there. And he's like, wait, what? And I think that's an experience that I had where, for you and Angel and Issa and all these incredible women that work at ConvertKit in a public facing role. And you see the webinars and the YouTube videos and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, wow. And then you get the answer from other, like you bring it up, talk about it as a team, and they're like, yeah, that's the world that we go into as a creator.
Right. Yeah. And that's what we have to deal with in order to make content online and to share our ideas and to work in public. We sort of have to accept that this side of it's going to happen as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had some more general advice for what to do there. Is there anything else that comes to mind as far as how you would, as you're coming in, right? I think of it like you're about to go on this journey of becoming a creator in a public sense. Maybe you've had this skill for quite a while that you've been cultivating, whether it's art or music or design or anything else. And you're about to step out, like open this door and step through it. And you're like taking this breath of like, okay, here we go. And you know that this adversity is coming. Are there any other tips on dealing with the unwanted attention or just how to frame that mindset as you step into it?
I would say use the block button liberally. It's there to be used. Like free speech is a thing that we have, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, to say what they like, but they're not entitled to say it in your space on the internet, and you do not have to listen to them. So I have I like to say a zero tolerance policy for creeps. Every time there's a comment that makes me feel gross, that just feels off to me, feels creepy, I don't want to give that person a chance to get to me again. So I block them instantly. I use the hide user from channel button on YouTube, the block button on Twitter. Those are the main places that I usually get stuff. And I think that needs to be encouraged more. I think we're sometimes a little afraid of blocking. It feels really extreme and we're trying to build an audience, right? So why are we hiding ourselves and getting rid of a number when, that's what we're trying to do? But yeah, you got to protect your own mental health with it all. And you want to build your audience of the right people. And so I am absolutely not afraid to block people. I have hundreds and hundreds of Twitter accounts that I've blocked. I even like to do pre-blocking. So if I see someone being creepy or being rude to another creator that I follow, I'll go ahead and block them straight away before they have a chance to get to me.
You see it coming. It's like the forest fire burning over the ridge, and you're like, I think we're gonna build a little fire break right here, right now. That's interesting. I I hadn't thought about that, but you definitely see it. And then I think what you said of there's this category with the unwanted attention where people, I guess there's the really creepy side. And then
Yeah.
there's the side where someone's like, when they get called out on it, they're going to be like, I don't understand. All the
Mhm.
words that I said were a compliment. And so I think that's for other people stepping in so that you don't have the burden as the creator of like explaining to every person, actually, when you compliment my appearance in this way, it comes across really creepy. That's where other people can come in and say, hey, that's not okay. Like in the, I think I jumped in on that one. Dan Petty jumped in on that one, and
Yeah.
he was nice about it. He was just like, hey, this isn't okay. You should delete this comment, and just, I think we're often saying, or when someone says something creepy, we're like putting the burden on the creator, has a
Mm.
tendency to be like, oh, well, why don't you just educate that audience member that was creepy, and then they won't do it again. And that's just a never ending battle. Like,
Yeah.
as the creator, you should use the block button. But as a fellow audience member, I would say feel free to step in and be like, that's not okay. Here's why, change the behavior. And you can, like, if we can gradually crowdsource the education
Exact
side of
response.
things,
Yeah.
yeah, then I think that'll work well. And just say, make sure that the creator knows, use the block button, and the audience members know that they can go through and reply. Because I know the ones that I've had it, we actually, this is on a different topic, but in the ConvertKit Facebook group, we had a series of people complaining about ConvertKit and everything that was wrong with it and stuff like that. And it was just, I got tagged in the thread on a Sunday morning. It was the weekend, and they like dragged into it. And then like half a dozen or more additional creators jumped in and said, after I had responded of like, okay, we'll try to track down the issue. What's your ticket? All of that. And a bunch of people jumped in after that and said, this is why I love ConvertKit. The tool is fantastic. And this thread that went from turning really negative went like more positive than I could have ever hoped for, because like my people came out and said,
Yeah.
And they supported that. And so I think that, we can all do the same thing for the creators that we care about.
Absolutely. I think this again comes down to community, in like having people who you can rely on, where you can rant to about this stuff, who can step in for you when, you're not wanting to deal with that yourself, which, is absolutely fair, and that happens. But also, we as consumers on the internet, as well as creators, we can be making it a better place as well. So like taking the time to leave a positive comment can help more than you know, because you don't know if the previous 3 comments that creator has read were negative ones. And then your positive one might be what helps to start turn them around. And so I always like to comment on content that I enjoy, because I know how much I appreciate it as a creator. So I think we've kind of got to, if that's what we want to receive as creators, we've kind of got to put that out there into the internet as well.
I like that. And realizing that clicking the like button, on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, is like a certain amount of, we're like, cool, people like that. But a comment means so much more. So whenever you're scrolling through and you come across content that you love, then definitely leave a comment, because as creators, we use that as fuel. And it's like, okay, this is reaching people, this is having an impact. And then the other thing is, when you come across that content or that negative comment, then just realize, okay, I got to get my friends together, because we now need 10 positive comments to counteract this one negative one.
Right.
And, I love Charlie and her work, and I want to make sure she keeps doing it. And so let's make sure that happens, and so for whoever that creator is, I know that the people who have been doing it for a long time have this thick skin that they've been working on developing. And so they will still 100% appreciate your help and support. But it's those new creators where if you see that YouTube video with, say, 200 views and a negative comment, like, that creator could use them in your corner, could use you in their corner.
Absolutely. And that's where I think the just ignore it advice isn't always super helpful for new creators, because it's so hard to ignore. So you can gently encourage that, but we all know that anyway. We all know we should ignore it. But the best thing you can do is, like you said, go in and put positivity in to counteract that negativity they've received.
Yep. I love it. Well, that's a good place to transition. Let's go to, I'm not going to do music. Barrett's it would dishonor Barrett to not, or to try to recreate his creator of the day transition. So we'll just go to that. Charlie, who do you have for us as a creator of the day?
I have for us today, and shall I share my screen? That's what you do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. So this is Patricia Bright, and she has a YouTube channel called The Break Platform. She's actually like a lifestyle influencer, vlogger, fashion type person, and is now making this channel all about finances and money advice. And I just think it's so awesome. And she is incredibly smart. I watched a really great budgeting video of hers the other day. So she's got loads of great content on there just for finances and budgeting, that sort of thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm always looking to discover new creators in that way. My creator of the day is also going to be my resource of the day, or two parts of it. Is Sherry Walling.
Cheating.
It's not cheating. It's efficiency.
Okay.
Charlie, there are no rules here on this podcast. You should know that by now. So Sherry Walling, I got to know her from the community at MicroConf. Her husband, Rob, founded Drip that we competed with at ConvertKit, but now Sherry and I have become good friends, speaking at a lot of the same conferences over the years. And she is a psychologist, author, speaker, and she talks about psychology from the perspective of entrepreneurship, and talks about the roller coaster that we're on, and bringing that in, basically bringing counseling and coaching into, and I'd say emotional intelligence into the world of entrepreneurship. And so she is a fantastic creator. She's got a podcast. She has a book. This is the resource. The book is titled The Entrepreneur's Guide to Keeping Your Shit Together. And it's really good. So see, Charlie, we now each have one swear word for the
perfect
for the
tally
episode.
Is complete.
That's right. Anyway, so sherrywalling.com. She's also great to follow on Twitter as well. And if you ever have the chance to see her speak, she gives a really solid talk there.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I gave my resource. So what is your super valuable, highly educational, business changing resource of the day?
Well, okay. So when Nathan told me that we'd do this resource of the day thing, I went back and looked at a previous episode to see like what types of stuff they talk about. And this was episode, I think it was 31, and Nathan recommended a shower head extension. So I was like, all right, anything goes here. So my resource of the day is Animal Crossing. This is a game on the Nintendo Switch, and I've been playing it literally every day since it came out. And I just feel like it's like kept me sane through this quarantine. It's so calming and beautiful, and it's a joy. So yeah, I'm going to bring up Animal Crossing everywhere. I just saw Teddy in the chat say, it's coming up. Yep, it's coming up.
Oh man, love it. So yeah, check out Animal Crossing. I don't have a Switch, so I haven't.
Well, you got to get that first. Yeah, that's the first
step. One. Step 1, become quarantined. Step 2, get a Switch. Step 3, spend all your time playing Animal Crossing to recover from the fact that you're quarantined.
Yep, that's my life lately.
See, it's a flywheel. See how?
Yeah, done.
Yeah, we talked about systems, all of that. Oh, good stuff. Well, Charlie, do you want to conclude us with the thought of the day, or do you want me to?
Well, you can. Do you have one?
Not in particular. But I'm good at making stuff up on the fly.
Okay. Well, I was just going to reiterate my point about community, and just want to call out that if you're a creator out there who is struggling with hate comments or unwanted attention, and I don't know, maybe you're feeling like I did at the start, a little guilty about about feeling creeped out from this unwanted attention, just know you're valid. And if you ever want to chat to me about it, if you want to rant about it, you can follow me on Twitter at Charlie Prangley, and I'm always here to listen to you and validate those feelings that you're feeling.
Yes, I like it. Okay, where should people follow you around the web? You have a podcast, you have a YouTube channel. Plug those really quick.
All of the things. Okay, well, charliemarie.com is my website, and you can find links to all of the stuff on there. My podcast is called Design Life. It's very nerdy design details. So, if you're a designer, you might enjoy it. And then my YouTube channel is Charlie Marie TV.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for listening today. And, as you browse the web through the rest of the day, go leave some positive comments, help out a few creators, encourage them. And then if you feel like it, go educate some negative comments or some creepily positive comments on behalf of the creator who received them. So that's it for today. And we'll be back tomorrow with Q&A Friday with the very jingle Jingle
enthusiast.
Jingle enthusiast, Barrett Brooks. All right. See ya.
Bye.